Welcome to the Generation Fit podcast. I'm Coach Chris with my co-hosts Coach Brett and Coach Paul. Today, we talked about why it feels like your metabolism slowed down after 30 with a desk job. Enjoy. Going into this new gym, it's just a different vibe, but also like nobody's there. So back where I went to in Lifetime, the reason why I switched was because I wasn't really getting the most out of it, like the other stuff, the like lifestyle stuff, like the sauna, the babysitting service. Like we just weren't doing any of that because I was working so much. So we had to switch gyms, and now we're at this. It's essentially Iron Culture, right, of New Jersey, just in Minnesota. I mean, when I was there at like 6 a.m, nobody was there. Like we're talking no more than 10 to 15 people, and this thing houses at least 500, like minimum. There's 4 rooms. There's 4 extra rooms for powerlifting. You can have your own. Like there's like individual rooms, echo chambers with speakers up top that you can do your own PRs and scream your head off, and nobody would know. Like that's how cool this place is.
They soundproof
Nobody's there. No. Like it's just they created it so the walls on the side, and then the speakers from the open area, so like people won't be hearing you scream because like the sound is going towards your face, right into the 3 walls.
So
if you're benching or squatting, you're facing towards the open spot, but the sound is coming that way, so it's like canceling out. There's 3 of those rooms: empty squat rack, powerlifting rack, like full on Olympic rack, powerlifting and Olympic racks. Am I going to use it? Probably not, because I'm not squatting ever again.
Maybe there's a dude at my there's a dude at my gym that like every movement other than breathing, this man grunts. Getting up from the bench, going to get the weight, picking up the weight, sitting on the bench, getting ready for his press, each rep of the press, and I'm like, don't get me wrong, he's doing good, like he's doing some weight, like he's repping the hundreds, like stuff like that. But I'm like, I'm about to throw the 120s at your head if you don't like. I'm sorry your parents didn't give you enough attention, my guy, but like if I can hear you over noise canceling headphones, bring it down an octave or decimal with whatever the sound stuff is. Mr. Music Man.
That's obnoxious. That's obnoxious.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this though. The new gym has so much equipment. I didn't even know how to use half of it. There was a 1-arm row bench where you put your knee down, the weight in the center, and then place your hand in a certain direction that you'd like, so you could move it around. There was the benches that you could throw the dumbbells that can rack, so you can like put your foot on, it comes back in, you can re-rack the dumbbells.
Okay. Love that.
Those are tricky.
The laying. Yeah, there's a skill to it. I'm not pressing weights heavy enough to even use those. So I don't
grab one of the benches and use like 30s. No one will get mad at you, I promise.
Yeah, they'll look at me and they'll be like, "Oh, hell is this guy? Was he lifting for 110s and 30s for 110 reps?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I need these. Okay, I need these badly, terribly."
Yeah, man, I might lose one. Only one rep my 110. Like that's
can't waste any energy.
It's not off anymore.
All right. So main reason why we're here today is I think we get a lot of questions, especially with guys that sit behind a desk all day, work a corporate job, doing well for themselves, but once they hit 30, it seems like everything went to shit. Feels like that you're putting on weight and you're like, how is this happening? I feel like I am eating and doing the same kind of things. And next thing you know, my body is kind of fading away. I'm gaining weight. I don't want to. I have more stress, low energy. So we can break it down any way you like. One of you guys can take it away, put your thoughts in.
I mean, like the reality is like, you gained so much weight past 30, not because you slow down your metabolism, not because even your diet tends to remain most the same. It's just like you get so busy is you end up not being able to move as much. It's like this is the natural tapering, right? Your metabolism, generally speaking, over the course of your entire life, changes very little. But what happens is you get so overwhelmed with responsibilities, with work, with your family, with your kids, you end up just like losing time to get out there and move. And because you don't change your eating habits during this time, the weight just piles on. That's really all there is to it.
Yeah.
How about you, Paul?
I would definitely agree. Like, I mean, I've even seen it in, myself or people that I've been through college with, it's like, so college, your only obligation is maybe 2 to 3 classes that day, and then you have a full on damn near 18 hours to do whatever. You're walking across campus, probably lifting for 2 to 3 hours. You know, you have access to multiple sources of like foods. Like, there's not much responsibility to a majority of like the general population that goes like that's a student. And then you move into the real world, and now it's like job, spouse, family time, workout, you know, clean up after kids, like all this stuff that you have less time, and it's it's definitely a skill to figure out how to make it all work. You know, you have to set up those, I'm thinking of the word, basically plan it out. You have to set up those systems to make sure that everything falls into place as best as it can, because obviously life throws you curveballs. But, you know, most people best shape of their life is probably early 20s, mid 20s when they're in college or very little real world obligations. And then once they can't put all that time into, you know, themselves and actually have real world responsibilities, things start to change. Even if they do keep
Yeah, that
most of their daily stuff the same, like eating habits and all that.
yeah, that's huge. So, couple points. So, I'll go scientific first. So, as I was mentioning earlier, the metabolism doesn't really change that much. When we looked at the most recent research, where the maintenance is like, let's say 2,500 when you're in your 20s, basically every decade only drops off like less than 5 to 10%. It's not a lot. So you're like, okay, Chris, well, what happens when I'm 80? And you're like, okay, by then it's only like down to like 2,200 calories. So you're talking 300 calorie difference from 20 to 80 years old, 60 years. That's not a lot. That is not a lot at all. And so that's the scientific grounding that we have right now. I think other people, what you're mentioning there is also stress and stress management, which is also a big piece of this puzzle. And so ever, from the 20s with no real responsibilities, right? You could either, whether you stay with your parents for a couple of years, whether you moved out, but like that's the whole point. All you had to do was just do the job, do your job, come home, you can eat, lift, party, barely sleep, come back, and that be hungover and just do it all over again the whole next week, right? And then you can get away with it because nothing else was there. And so 30 rolls around. Now it's like you are paying rent, having a mortgage, maybe you have a family. And that is a lot of pressure on yourself. And people don't even realize that stress is stress, right? It's a cup of water. It can come from anywhere. And training is also a stress as well. So the big difference now back then was you can get away with doing more. And now you cannot. And so this is not a whether of how much more you can do. Even if you're technically doing it right, it's more of efficiency. How well are we doing it? And then doing it consistently. And so when you're 30, if you put on weight, guess what? It's just because, like Paul mentioned earlier, you were walking around on campus all the time doing things because you had to get a college degree. And then even after you graduated, it's like you probably were still somewhat active, whether it be sports, martial arts, pickup sports with your friends on the weekends, right? Just doing rec activities. And then, working out somewhere in between. But then when 30 hits, you're like, oh shit. It's like, I have meetings all day. I'm listening to all these phone calls. I have Slack messages popping up. Got to pay these bills. And you forget you went from basically, if I give you a number, let's just say about 12 to 15,000 steps a day, down to the average is what, 3 to 4,000? Right. So that's almost a 10,000. Let's just say it's a 10,000 step drop. Let's just say, right? Like, let's just over exaggerate a little bit. That is 500 calories less a day that you are expending every single day. So if you didn't know that and you ate the same way before, even if it was healthy, 500 calories a day is 1 pound a week gain. If you ate the same exact way, that's nutty. So did your metabolism slow down? No, you just stop moving. And then also add on top of that stress. So if you don't sleep, you also will compound on that negative feedback loop, essentially. And so, as I open up the floor here, what have you seen works to reverse this out? So some of these guys that come up to me, they're like, man, I feel like I can't, everything I do, I can't do it to lose the belly fat, no matter what I eat, no matter how much I train. What do you guys think is the best course of action for these guys?
Be consistent. It's like that's the biggest thing is people who are, having a hard time getting back on the wagon are just like it's always very, very sporadic, right? Like rarely hear people getting back into it. Like, oh yeah, I gotta lose this fat and they just go to the gym consistently, 2, 3 days a week. Doesn't have to be a shit ton for months on end. It's like they start here and there. They'll do like 2 days here, they'll do 1 day here, and they have this week that they missed because they had a bunch of meetings really early or like some client dinners at late nights to get up early enough to go the next day. And it really is just a matter of consistency and having something in place to make sure they're getting to the gym in a very timely fashion each week. That's the big thing. Like for me personally, is just setting realistic goals for your fitness, being like, I'm getting there 2 days. That's it. I'm gonna spend like an hour and a half hour working out, maybe 15 minutes of cardio at the end, and then just on with the day afterwards. And if they can carve that time out, usually I find they're just more successful than just like getting in there when they can, as they can, and then I'm busy, so I can't go this week at all, and then they're just off the wagon. How about you, Paul?
I agree. Consistency in all aspects of life definitely will help. I think also just having a game plan and like sticking to it, like, you know, it, especially in the beginning, I think tracking what you eat, tracking your movement, tracking everything, and just also, um, because guesstimating is where you see a lot of the holes. It's like, oh, I'll just grab a handful of this and that's fine. But it's like a handful of chicken versus like a handful of nuts, like that's huge, both macro wise and calorie wise, big difference. And then also just like getting your priorities straight. Like it it has to become a priority to you, your health, like making sure the gym, like if you're only getting in 4 days a week and those days, you got to make sure you hit that four. Like it doesn't have to be the same 4 days, but it's like you got to make sure like you hit them.
4 days is a lot for these guys. That's why we preach. I mean, that's why we really preach too. But I think one of your touch points is great. So a lot of times, like I'm definitely more analytical in this regard. But I think a lot of
Yeah, I was just
people,
giving a
when
number
they say like, "Hey, I've been
example.
doing this," yeah, I get it. And I think a lot of people that are listening to this, they're like, "Well, I'm eating the same way as I did before, right?" And it was still guesstimating, but that's the thing is back then you could get away with it, right? And so if you're doing the same thing and you're not getting away with it, that means we have to change what's going on. And so you're right. The first thing we got to do is actually audit, whether it is tracking by pictures, whether it's tracking by a food log, but anything to actually get objective looks at the food that we're intaking. Because I guarantee you, your size, the way you're estimating your food, it is way less in your head. And I actually tell my clients already to overestimate every single thing that they touch, that they look at, everything. So if I'm like, hey, Chris, like this looks like one serving, I'll be like, put 1.5 in minimum, like overshoot it, and you'll probably be actually close to the real number. And then they get disappointed when they realize like, oh, well, I've been eating 4,000 calories for the last, 5 years of my life every single day. And nuts is a good one. But yes, the thing is, I think once we cross that like 30 barrier, it's not that we have changed dramatically in terms of the intake of food, because most people honestly kind of eat within that realm. What I think happens is that the movement becomes so low that we just don't accommodate for it, and then we also, in our desk jobs, in our sedentary lifestyles, have food around us that's so hyper palatable too. So we think that we're eating healthy or we're trying to be on a good track and don't even realize we're eating a lot of the foods that are coming in. And so it's like a complete double whammy of, I think I'm eating healthy. I'm underestimating what I'm eating. I'm surrounded by good food all the time. So it's like you think you're doing a lot, but in reality, it's truly not 99% of the time. 99%. Yes, we do have some guys that are like, hey, Chris, I'm actually eating like 2,000 calories and not losing weight. And next thing you know, I look at their lifestyle and they're stressed out to the nines, managing teams. Dick can't even get hard. Um, which is actually quite often with these high level guys. And I just tell them like, hey, we have to freaking get the stress down, right? And then everything kind of manages through. But that is very true. Underestimating the calories because everybody, even what's funny, even seasoned people like including ourselves will still be wrong about 10% if we were to not track for about 3 months straight. Like they've done research on this. Even the best of the best people who have like us who have tracked every single detail will still be wrong by about 10% on top of the USDA's legal parameter of being wrong 10% of the labels. Like that's a big jump. It's not 20% total. It's like I think it's like 15, right? But regardless, that's a lot. And so if you're guesstimating, just start taking pictures and just be like, man, what the hell did I eat yesterday? Or even the day before, because most of us don't remember jack about what the hell we ate. Like, yes, we do because obviously we're more in tune with this. But most of us, or most of you guys that are listening that are working behind a desk all day, you're just trying to get by your day, right? You're just trying to be like, okay, I got to get something quick. I go back to work. Oh, I go feed my family. Let's just get this quick. And that's it. You don't really think about it. And next thing you know, I think the most common one I just saw was someone wants to go get Chick-fil-A or something like that. And he got, I think, like 80 nuggets for his family. He ate like 35 of them.
Nice.
He goes, nice.
Hell yeah.
As Paul sends me a freaking food challenge the other day.
Oh my god.
It was, what was it? It was $10 million and you have to eat like 500 sushi rolls or something, or 50, 100.
50 sushi rolls, and that's equal to 50 times 6.
Yeah.
Pieces of sushi. So it's only 300 pieces of sushi, and at the high end 400 if it's 8.
Okay.
150 each. That's a snap right there.
So what's
50 rolls. So it's just a matter of if it's 6 pieces in a roll or 8, because some places will give you different ones.
Yeah.
But 300 to 500. 300 to 400. And I forgot how many people? Was it 2 people?
It
was
was
4? Was it a table?
It was 2 people, and if you finish it, you get $10 million. It was like,
we do that with
I think
ease.
You get
with ease.
Yeah. For $10 million, yeah, I'm there. All right. You got me.
I'd be training. I'd be training for years.
Yo, just bags of lettuce, like the hot dog eating competition people. Like, oh, I'll wreck my gut for 5 days for $10 million. You kidding me?
Absolutely. 100%. You know how much fucking medical care that kind of money buys? Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck me up.
Well,
I'm there.
Well, I think Paul has been. I think Paul's a vendetta against me because I brought one of my coworkers to one of my friends' places for a food challenge, and he's really tiny, right? And he was just being super overconfident. And the whole point is like it was a regular loaded pie, which I think this one was meatball, like a pizza, like a meatball pie, whatever. And then you had a dessert. You had s'mores too. So it was a fully loaded pie, double stacked, and a desserts with it. And he only finished 3/4 of it. And I finished it within 27 minutes. And we didn't win, obviously, because he has to finish it too. And I looked at Paul. I was like, yeah, we could have finished this within like 25, 26 minutes if you were with me. I was perfectly I didn't even have to train for it.
They make it was our buddy's family's like pizza place. And they make those like fat boy pizzas where it's like chicken fingers, mozzarellas, french fries, like prime rib in the middle.
Oh yeah, like the fucking like a titty pizza. Gotcha. Okay.
He sent me a Snapchat.
18 inches.
Yeah.
No,
he sent me a Snapchat of the
like
kids
tacky.
Yeah. But he sent me a Snapchat of the kid struggling, barely finishing like one slice. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, put me in, coach. You don't,
I think he was
you
just so
don't,
overconfident.
you don't have the bunter go in place for the designated hitter.
he just, I think he was just so overconfident. I was like, dude, you're not. I was like, I didn't want to doubt him. I just was like, look, you're
Mhm.
so confident. It's like I'm gonna pay for it regardless because I'm already going into this. I know I'm paying for it, and so it's worth for him to just be quiet after him being so
Nice.
confident with himself, and
I
so
mean,
it
like, not for
destroyed his
nothing.
ego.
You've seen you've seen the fucking professional eaters. Like, they're not necessarily big guys,
The s-
like the
the
ones especially
small
like
guys will
from,
surprise you.
uh, yeah,
It's the
they can fucking
anatomy.
pack it away.
It's their natural anatomy on top of training for it. They expand their stomach as a muscle, and then their stomach also sits lower, so it has extra
Mm,
square
give,
mileage.
yeah.
They actually have more space than
I
the
mean,
average eater.
you could measure it in square mileage. Wouldn't be very many, but you could do it.
Yeah, but all right, back to the
So
normal
back,
topic before
so
we go
back to the
back to
thing of
binge
like
eating.
how yeah. Another thing is like, so the lifestyle change. I was living in Hoboken with you guys, walking around every day, and like, I want to say we went out to eat like at least twice a week, roughly. Like whether it was order in or we actually went to a restaurant. And once once I left Hoboken, now that I'm more of a stationary position for what I do, like, and the social aspect of being in the shop is like we go out to eat as a shop family, and at least once, twice a week, or we'll order into the shop, and it's like, but now I'm not getting those steps in of walking to work 3, 4 times a day, getting those extra thousands of steps. So it's like I'm not expending what I'm putting back in, even though I'm eating the same things.
Yeah, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal coming from living in a city, especially a walkable city, to
Gotta drive
back to
everywhere.
normal America, suburban America. And so I think one of the biggest things for these guys is like, I mean, think of it this way, right? Imagine you're working your whole life now and you are behind a desk. You actually physically can't get away. You can make time in between, but nobody can like just power walk 15 minutes for like us, point 0.6, which was 0.6 miles each way, and power walk it too. And then for us, it was
Mm.
like I had a 15-pound backpack on. But these guys are like just getting to the office. So the only thing really they can do is integrate it into their lifestyle, which is going to be, you know, taking the staircase to work. And if you work at like the 50th floor, it's like just take like 10 staircases and then take the elevator. You know what I mean? Like it really has to be integration versus surrounding it, because otherwise if you go up 50, I mean, you could do 50. I mean, you don't have to do cardio for the rest of the day. That'd be fantastic, actually.
Imagine.
Shows up to
Imagine.
the
I
meeting,
assume they
has to
don't want to
change his suit.
be.
Just
Yeah.
fucking drenched in sweat. It's like,
Yeah.
all right,
It's
guys.
impractical.
Did you guys
Yeah,
not see that
that's
storm
impractical.
outside? How are you all so dry?
It was weird. You
They're
see it
like,
raining inside?
just just raining every day. Is it only raining over me?
Yeah,
He's like looking
basically.
above his head for like this fucking cartoon storm cloud and shit. And like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, it might as well be. But I think I think that's one of the hardest parts. It's like it has to be integrated, and so I think one of the hardest parts for these guys, right? That just but over 30, it's not that you have to do more. I think one of the biggest pieces now is actually going out to eat and integrating into your life. I think most people just don't understand how many calories are in food, and when they go out to eat, like you just don't even know. And so, yeah, back then, yeah, you could go get the chicken fingers and the French fries and like the late night foods and be fine with it and eat like 2,000 calories of it. But the thing is, you'd walk away back to your whatever, play some sports later and later that week, and boom, done. But now we got luxury. So it's like, oh, you want to go get beers with the boys? It's Super Bowl Sunday. this Sunday. It's like, I want to have the wings. I want to have the dip. I want to have beer. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But you understand, it's like, it's not that you can't have these things. It's just like, you don't even realize how much is in there. And if I were to go for, let's just even say Super Bowl Sunday, I mean, what? A wing, so a normal sized wing is about 88 to 100 calories. So if you have 6 wings, 10 wings, that's 1,000 calories the most. And that's before a single beer hits your throat, which means if you drink 3 beers, that's 1,300 calories, and you damn well know that you're not just eating those things. You're probably going to get, like, what's another thing? Like, you probably get like the treats too, right? Super Bowl parties usually have like cookies or
Cookies,
cupcakes, like stuff like that, right? So imagine you have 2 of those.
Buffalo chicken dip.
Chips, and the dip. Oh my, and the dip. Okay, I'm lowballing it. 2,000 calories for the average person, the average dude.
That's not even
ease.
like a lot of food, like volume wise for what you're eating. It's like it is deceptive. Like
Some
I think
people
like,
go
the
all
average
out
person
for
would probably
this.
put. Oh yeah, you could easily put away like 3,000 calories in an evening and not really even like think twice about it.
Well, I know we can, but the guys listening,
Oh yeah,
they're like, oh, I don't do that. I can never.
yes you do. Yes
And
you do.
I'm like, wait a second. Let me just. All these. So a lot of the guys I talk to, they have happy hours, right? They're since they're doing well at their jobs, it's like they have happy hours, business dinners, all that stuff. And I'm like, hey, just shoot me a day's worth of food, just one. When you go out, when you have one of these lunches, dinners. And every time I look back, right, watch this. It's like breakfast is normal, which is like already like a granola bar, like something on the go, like a muffin, coffee, whatever.
Yeah.
Lunch is corporate, so they think they try to get healthy, so they get, let's say, a sandwich. So you're already 1,000 calories in, let's just say, and then you got the corporate lunch, the business dinner, right, or the dinner party. The average person gets what? A burger, and I'm like, oh man, the burger itself is probably like 1,500 by itself. Before the fries, before the butter on the bun, like you know what I mean, like all these little additives, and before your 3 drinks, I was like, that's the easiest 3,000 to 3,500 calorie a day I've ever seen in my entire life, and that is a normal outing for half these people. And so it's not that you can't have a burger, it's not that you can't have fries. It's just like you have to actually prep. I mean, this is like accounting, actually. It's like you just have to know when you're doing these things, and then choose foods that are just generally lower in calories throughout the week. So then you can have a bigger calorie day. And then even so, when you're there, you still have to plan out that day so you don't go over, because that's insane. The fact that you can do 3,500 calories in one sitting without even thinking about it, or one day without thinking about it, is absolutely absurd. And to lose weight, you need to be 3,500 calories in net deficit every single week. It's like, man.
I could go downstairs right
Oh.
now and make a 3,500 calorie snack so fast. Like it's almost diabolical how easy it is to just down thousands worth of calories for nothing. For nothing.
Oh yeah.
Also, it's
Well,
really Super Bowl Sunday this Sunday.
Yeah, I haven't watched any football this year, basically.
What? That's
yeah, dude, it's
crazy.
first week of February.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I'm living under a rock, everyone, so there's that.
Oh, dude, so am I. I'm freaking in. You see the studio? This is in the basement, and so this is in my studio basement dungeon. I'm a basement dweller, a dungeon master.
The fact that you're in a tank top in Minnesota is absurd.
Yes, it is.
Feels like a message.
Feels like negative 14 degrees Fahrenheit right now.
I thought y'all just live in igloos out there.
We do. Just go north about 20 more miles. But yeah, so the biggest thing, right, combining kind of all these principles for the desk working men over 30, is understanding a key couple of components. So one, we're going to try to incorporate foods that just have the highest protein that fill you up the most and also have the lowest calories. Okay, so basically, your best friend is going to be meat. I'm not talking to the vegans and the vegetarians. There are plenty of ways to do so. I just don't specialize with them anymore. And so meat is going to be your best friend. So which ones? You can rotate any one of them. Just find the lean ones. If it's chicken, or poultry, it's breast, the drumstick, all skinless, the skinless thighs, and then some wings. some portions of the wings without skin on. You know, if it's steak, it's like any red meats. It's like loins, chops, all fantastic. Rotate those around, and then in terms of like breakfast meats, it's like just find turkey bacons, Canadian bacons, chicken sausage. But you see what I'm saying? You gotta try to eat about a pound of meat every single day to get even just 100 grams of protein. But protein's filling as shit. So like when people were like, I mean, I'm sure we'll get into this in a second, but everybody's like, why the hell is life around protein right now? I'm like, out of all the things in the world that has happened nutritionally, this has got to be one of the best ones we've seen. Because prior to this, I mean, think about it this way. Our parents used to yell at us for being like, oh, we are having too much saturated fat, we're gonna get a heart attack. Oh, we're gonna get too much sodium, we're gonna have a heart attack. And then they're like, we shouldn't eat eggs, then we should eat eggs. And then it's like we should probably eat this much amount of bread, 10 servings of bread. And now we've come full circle and like everything. I mean, it's Oreo proteins now, and I think Snickers is a protein bar, which is like the same thing. But like I'm like, out of everything that's happened, I was like, this is probably the best thing so far of all the trends possible across the board. So I'm just hounding at you guys more. Oh yeah, oh dude. I mean, at this point, it's gonna be like protein beer. I think that's the next big joke.
Hell yeah!
No, I'm there. I'm there.
Get at me.
Give me some protein whiskey.
All my
maybe a little
macros
protein tequila.
all the time.
I'm
It was like
curious.
just fucking trash at work, or like
So-
where what's going on? I was like, I'm being health conscious.
I feel like I know what
Macros.
Chris is about to ask, or like what you're curious about is like, because protein, they always tell you to actually have protein before drinking versus carbs if you actually want to like subside the effects. Like, would it really hinder the buzz if you mix the two?
Yeah, that too. So my question is, I'll probably chat GPT this in a second and pull it up, but just out of pure curiosity. So my actual question is, does drinking alcohol while intaking protein prohibit or inhibit muscle growth with every variable accounted for, which is lifting, hitting 1 gram per pound of body weight, and getting adequate sleep? Because so here's the thing. The reason why I say this is alcohol, once it hits the system, it turns into it's a toxin, so it gets broken down to acetaldehyde, and that's obviously a poison. So we have to break it out of the body, and their whole body will shift to taking it out. And muscle protein synthesis is happening when you eat and then try to synthesize it back feeding it back into the cells, right, into the tissue. And so I'm just thinking, would alcohol actually prohibit that from happening and taking it as priority one, like rogue leader? And so, yes, it does. Number one, blunts muscle protein synthesis directly. So you cannot have protein beer. That would actually be antagonistic of each other.
Oh.
So even when protein is consumed, every half gram of alcohol, which is 3 to 4 drinks for a 180-pound male, you decrease your synthesis by 20 to 25%.
Big number.
And then if you get to about 6 to 8 drinks, that is down to 35 to 40% blunting effect. So all those drinks that we had in Hoboken definitely blunted my effect. Even though I was as strong as I could be ever at that time frame, that was
could have been stronger.
Could have been stronger if we just didn't drink.
Now, who would ever
What a
want to
shame,
do
you know?
that?
What a shame. Yeah. So I guess to put it all together for you guys. So 1, your metabolism did not slow down at all, actually. The only thing that did slow down was the amount that you moved and the stress that you currently have, which is house, rent, bills, possibly kids. And then number 2 being that you're underestimating your calories. Like, no matter what you think you're actually eating, you're probably overeating what you think you are. And so that includes like nuts, pizza, burgers. It's just you think that it's X amount of calories. Trust me, it's about 1.5x of what you're actually eating, which is terrifying. Okay. And then the last portion is that we just don't move, right? We really just don't move at all. So back in the lifestyle of our 20s, the average, I would say, for a person who's, probably got the degree and had a more active lifestyle anyways, you probably got like 10 to 12,000 steps if you had a tracker on you at the time. What's funny is I actually have my Apple Watch data all the way from 2015. And I was getting on campus, I was getting about 16,000 steps a day, average 16,000. So I'm lowballing for the people that don't get as much steps in. And the average person now gets what, 3 to 4,000? So that's a negative 500 calorie drop per day, right? Every 2,000 steps is 100 calories, give or take. And so if you did not account for that lifestyle change, you obviously have put on a lot of weight because 500 calories extra per day is 1 pound gain per week. And so is it your metabolism? Is it that your age is killing you? Is it that your job is killing you? It's like, no. It's like they all play a part. But the bigger picture at hand is you just didn't adjust, right? You didn't have the right systems in place, like Paul mentioned earlier, to be able to fight these inevitable things, okay? Because you did get the job and the house and the apartment or the kids. And so from here, after listening to this, you have a better idea of what you need to work on. And it's the same. I mean, realistically speaking, it's the same couple things, but now it's a matter of will you do it? And there's no inherent secret to it. You actually know. I think most people just don't know the rules of the game. And I just gave it to them. It's like how much you're moving, how many calories you're eating, how much protein you're getting in per day, and then are you sleeping? It's not rocket science. It's just how can we integrate that into our lives? But any last words that you have for these guys that are questioning their lives after 30 years old?
You have the autonomy. Like, you have complete control of your life. There are things you have to do. Yes, you have responsibilities, but ultimately, as Paul said earlier, this is a matter of just like making this your priority, and that is the only way forward, truly.
You
Paul, how about
stole
you?
my
What do you
closing.
got?
You stole my closing
Hell yeah,
argument.
get fucking wrecked. Ha!
No,
Nail this! Guy retires champion.
choices. It all comes down to choices. It all comes down to choices, and you have to choose your hard. It it can get easier, and if you simplify things, and you set up the plans, and you prep, and you do pretty much all the tips that we gave you in this 45-minute talk that we just had. Um, but you you know you could do the easy way in terms of the wrong easy of, oh, let me just grab like McDonald's on the way home, versus like the easier, the the better easy option of, let me make a second protein shake, or have a second protein bar, or a meat stick snack in my bag, or having those steps in place that will hold you over till you get home to the wife and kids to have the actual whole food meal. It's just making little choices like that of, do I take the stairs, or do I ride the elevator the whole way up? Do I park 15 spots farther away versus right in front of the door? Like, those little choices add up to the big wins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'll close off with a hot take.
Yes. I crave violence,
No.
Crystal.
No. I guess it will be violent. I'm more like a dagger, a knife to the heart, more than the axe, more like than the axe to the teddy bear. I think that's a better analogy
That's
to it.
crazy.
I mean, I know people like that. I believe it's protecting your ego. You'd rather blame everything else, right? Because then it relieves you of responsibility to take control of your life. If it were true that it was your metabolism that slowed down, if it were true that your wife cooked all your food and you couldn't tell her to make better food. If it were true that you couldn't park further away or it took too much time to do everything, it protects your own ego. It makes you sleep at night, even though that you don't like the way you look or the way you feel at this age. It makes you content, complacent. And so the only way forward is to take responsibility and say, I mean, we actually laid out logically what's happening because it's in science, it's your metabolism is slowing down. You just aren't moving as much and are overeating very high hypercaloric foods. And I'm not, this is just truth. And so my biggest question to you guys listening to this, it's like, do you want to be right and still hate the way you look and feel? Or would you rather drop the ego and actually take responsibility so you can actually move forward from where you are standing right now or sitting listening to this podcast? And if that triggered you, well, that means actually somebody cares and actually is telling you what you need to hear, because you saying it's my metabolism. I'm 30 years old. My wife cooks me this food. I go out to eat all the time. Those are just excuses. You don't think anybody else can do that too? Just food for thought. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share with a friend, subscribe to the channel, and follow us on Instagram. Mine is Coach_Chris Lee.